Now, is it Ireland? Yes, it is. It's Ireland. There's Uncle Mark's house in Ireland. There it is. That's France's home in Ireland. That's Uncle Mark's. Yeah, this is in the country in County Leitrim. And that's where Daddy's brother Mark lived. Yeah, and he had three. There's his wife, Jane Ann. Mark is dead now. And there's his son, Francis. That's young Francis. He still has the farm to this day. He's a farmer. And this is County Leitrim. And it's Glendargan, right outside of Ballinamore. And when I go back to Ireland, that's where I go. Okay, Francis is married now and he lives on another farm with his wife, but he goes back there. Now this is my mother's. Oh, this is where my mother lived in Ireland. There's the shed there's Uncle Johnny's little shop where he made boots. Her Uncle Johnny. And there's the stone piggery that she helped her uncle build. Her Uncle Johnny built that with the stones they picked up from the field. Mother said she remembered bringing the stones to help Uncle Johnny build that. There was a place for the sheep and a place for the chickens and the lambs and the pigs and I don't believe the house was standing at this time when Johnny. No, it definitely was not standing. The first year when I went back there in 1966, I saw a bit of the walls of the house. Tommy was the only one that saw more of the house standing when he went back in the 50s. But anyway, I know when I went back, the walls of the house were made of mud and the roof was thatched. And I took some of the mud and put it in a bag and I brought it home to Mama. The walls of the house she was raised in. She was raised by her grandparents on this farm and her Uncle Johnny. Uncle Terence lived there too for the end of his days. And Uncle Johnny married Mary, but Mary only lived 7 years and then died. So they were the only kind of parents that she ever had. My mother inherited this farm after Uncle Johnny died. But she gave my father the power of attorney, and when he went back in 1959, he sold it. And today, all of that is gone. It's all torn down, it's all gone, and the ground is cleared. Now, her uncle owned that farm. He got it from his parents, and his name was John McKiernan. And when I went back last year, they're building a new house on this property, and the young man that's going to live it, believe it or not, is named John McKiernan. So it's still in kind of the family name, and I wouldn't be a bit surprised. There was 13 children in this family. My mother's mother was born here. She was one of 13 children. And she was born on September the 3rd, 1863 in Clune. And she's buried today in the church at Ahavas, in the old cemetery way back behind the church. She came to America, she married Thomas Morris, and when she knew she wasn't well, she wanted to go see her parents one more time, thinking she would be able to come back home, but she got pneumonia on the ship on the way over. She had brought the baby with her, leaving her son, Harry, his name was Henry, and her daughter Irene in America with her husband's family. And she went to Ireland, and she only lived a month when she got there and died. And my mother was reared there, only to come home to her brother and sister when she was 18 years old. I'll tell more about that later. Now we're in Minnesota, and this is Frank's kind of home on wheels. For years he had this, what they call a fifth wheel on a truck, and he used to take all his children and put them in it and take them camping around the country. And he came to Detroit a few times with it. It wasn't Glenna's favorite thing, but it sure was. Frank loved it. Oh, this is Ireland. This is 1972. This is Jim's sister Kathleen's wedding. And Johnny came to Ireland, and believe it or not, Dad and I went to Ireland. So did Cal and Carol and their 2 children, and Don and Veronica. The whole slew of us went home for this wedding. And she never knew we were coming. There's Jimmy Curtis and Kathleen. And that's Jim's sister. And behind her is Laura, Jim's sister Laura, Auntie Laura. There's little Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie and... Or is that Caroline? That's probably Caroline. Or is it Anne-Marie? Now there's a sister Laura, and the sister on the other side is Anne. There's Jim. They were all dudes, the boys. Jim was the camera there, and there's Uncle Don with the blue suit with the ribbon, and all the relatives. This is all of our family in Ireland. This is all the cousins and relatives and family. Jimmy Curtis has some of his family there too. He has brothers and sisters. But the girls there there's Grandma Brannigan in the blue dress beside Laura on the other side. This is Jimmy's parents on this side. And that's Ann. That's Jimmy's brothers. Okay. And then we went out to the Ballymac Hotel, Ballybascanlan. Beautiful hotel where we took pictures, and we had a beautiful dinner and reception. There's Laura and Anne-Marie, Anne, and her Anne's little daughter, Anne-Marie. That was Anne-Marie. That wasn't Caroline. And there's Jimmy Curtis and his groomsmen. It was his brothers. And that was Kathleen. Kathleen was one of the twins. My husband was the second oldest of 9 children. The oldest was Don, then Jim, then Eric and Cal. There's his father, James. This is Jimmy Curtis's family here. Then there was his sisters, Anne and Mary and Laura, and the twins, Kathleen and Breach. This was them going away after the reception. Oh my heavens! Now we're back in my family. Now we're back in Leitrim. This is Uncle Patrick's house. Uncle Patrick lived here and raised his 8 children here. My father's brother. We're back in Leitrim. And this is by the Rossi School in Drumshanbo, in the townland of Drumcong. It's about 6 miles outside of Ballinamore. My mother's about 3 or 4 miles the other side of Ballinamore. And believe it or not, they were raised in Ireland that close to each other and never met until they came to America. Now, this is the schoolhouse. There it is. There's the plaque on the wall. This is the school where all my grandfather and grandmother taught for 40 years. My Uncle Patrick and his wife Annie taught for 40 years. And my cousin's wife Mary taught for 2 years. And this little schoolhouse in the country was in our family for 82 years. And my grandparents taught all the children in that countryside, including their own 12. And they were very well educated. And that was the country school. And the house they lived in was just down the road. Now I said that was Patrick's house, but it was on the land where my grandfather's original home was. But he tore down the original home, and he built, when he became teacher, he built the big house for his wife and family. And in those days, it was quite the do. Of course, now it's all like in the middle of the country. It's very tiny now compared to the things in Ireland. But it was quite the place, I understand, in my father's day. And there were many, many children that ran the countryside in those days. But a lot of those children have left Ireland, and their ancestors are here, but the parents and the children and grandchildren are all gone off to Australia and England and America. And when the times were hard in Ireland, big families couldn't stay. You'd never know it today, though. You go back to Ireland, they're building $400,000 and $500,000 homes. Beautiful. Oh, there they are. There's Daddy and his brothers and sisters. There's Rose, Kathy, and Daddy and John. We're back in Rhode Island now. They were raised in that little country, and they were educated in that little school we just saw. Along with their other 8 brothers and sisters. And they were educated, you could call them homeschool children, because they were educated by their own parents, who were qualified teachers. And there wasn't one of them that was a dummy. They were all very, very, very well educated and very smart. There's Johnny. My father could recite poetry for hours and hours, and if he missed a line, one of his brothers or sisters would fill it in. They had memories that wouldn't... Their parents made them memorize everything, and you know something? I think that was great, because I don't know of any of them that died without their faculties of their mind, even at 90. My father was 102, and he was reciting poetry on the way into the hospital when he died to the nurses. I think the memorization that they had so well learned as children kept their mind alert. I often wonder what's going to happen to the children today. They don't memorize anything. They watch TV all day and their mind doesn't get any function. Okay, this is the backyard. At 14106 Maple Ridge, this was the house where we raised our children. And see that picnic table? You want to laugh? You called about the... This was Terry. This was Terry. This is my baby Terry. Oh, there he is. I have to tell you about the picnic table. There was a tree there, and Daddy cut down the tree, and he didn't know what to do with the stump, and he didn't want to dig it up. Is that Mikey? That's Mikey. Mikey and Terry. And so he put a big piece of casing over it, filled it with concrete, put a hole down the middle of it, put a table on the top of it, and put an umbrella in the center, and we had a picnic table. And God help anybody that ever tried to move it. It's probably there to this day. That's Michael and Terry, and there's Daddy. Oh Lord, he smoked like a fish. And you know, it's funny, when he gave it up, he decided to give it up, he threw the pack of cigarettes in the wastebasket and never smoked again. And people say, I have such a hard time giving up smoking. Daddy gave up smoking and drinking the same way. He just stopped and never did it again. I always said I was married to the most stubborn man on earth, because there aren't too many people that can do that. Ah, look at him, he's teaching his boy to play soccer. Don't touch the ball, kick it, kid. Who is it you said now? Peggy's little Ronan likes to kick the ball.
Teresa's Ronan.
Teresa's little Ronan. Teresa's little Ronan likes to kick ball. Okay, now we're at Katie's house. We're back on Thorntree. There's Joey and Remy and Kathy. Joey and Remy and Kathy. Yep, all dolled up. The dudes. Those were in the days when all the men were wearing sideburns and mustaches and... What was that, back in the early 70s? Late 60s, early 70s. And the girls had the bouffant hair, and there's Terry and Eugene. And even Eugene was wearing sideburns. Big Eugene. There they are, father and son. Johnny. Katie, Auntie Katie. They had Dad with them. Now, Kathy was born in 63 and Maureen was born about 65. So this was definitely in the 70s. Oh, there's our big green wagon. That went fast. Now we're back at Jean's house again. There we are. I don't know what the occasion was for this.
I think it's his 8th grade graduation.
His 8th grade graduation. You know, it looks like he'd be about that age.
Shook all their hands.
Yeah,
And
that's
camera.
true. It probably was his 8th grade graduation. You know, when you see this movie, Eugene, you'll know exactly what it is. And maybe you can get a little tape recorder and record some of this movie on a recorder, so when you play it for your family, they'll know exactly what the fill-in is from your family. Yeah. The boys wore their hair longer in those days. You couldn't get boys to wear their hair that long now. But the style is the style. There's Reenie. No, yeah, that's Reenie. That's Maureen. And there's Joey and his dad. The boys will treasure these pictures. I'm sure the girls will too. We don't have a paper on this one, do we? Johnny usually lets us know when he writes on a little paper what's coming, but on these last films we have had no idea what's coming. So it's all a big surprise. So you don't know what you're going to say. I might not say the right thing. I might say too much. I might say too little. But I'll do what I can. Here we go. We're on another First Communion now. Whose First Communion is this? Oh, this is this Reenie? That looks like Reenie. See if you can darken it a bit. Is it possible?
No.
Oh, this is terrible.
No, it's just unfortunate.
Oh, there's a better picture. There's Grandpa. Reenie and yeah, this, I told you, Reenie made no, when it wasn't Reenie, it was Kathy made First Communion with Beth Ann and Maureen. Reenie made her First Communion a couple of years later. Oh, there's her 3 brothers. They were altar boys for her First Communion. And Kathy, this was their baby girl making her First Communion. Isn't that pretty? Yeah. There's the dude, Eugene. This had to be in the probably early 70s. because that's the hairstyle. The long hair of the boys and the
It says 73,
and the sideburns.
73, 74.
73 and 74. Okay, this is when this film was taken. And that's when all the men wore longer hair and sideburns and mustaches, and the boys wore long hair.
The
And
girls
these
did
young
their
boys look at
mustache.
their picture with the long hair now and say, "Oh, Ma, why'd you let me do that?" But that's the styles. Look at, even the priest has sideburns. Okay, it's Marianne and Johnny and Patrick.
That's not Marianne, that's Rosemary.
That's Rosemary.
And that's her
Excuse me,
8th
Rosemary.
grade
I'm calling her
graduation.
Marianne. Hey, I get names mixed up all the time. That's a
Well.
mother's prerogative. I know who I was looking at. I just call them the wrong name.
And it looks like 8th grade graduation.
Yeah, it looks like 8th grade graduation. Yeah, Patrick and Rosemary and
From Grotto.
from Grotto. Okay, they graduated from high school in 77, so this was 70.
Sister Geraldine.
73.
Linda was
Sister Geraldine. Do you know that Sister Geraldine, there's Patricia. Do you know that Sister Geraldine taught Tommy at Assumption Grotto in the 8th grade back in 1946? Now, what do you think of that?
There's the whole Weiss family.
Yeah, that's Joey, Mary, Patricia, herself, himself.
There's me in my Girl Scout uniform and
Oh,
Beth Ann in her
You
Girl Scout
and Beth Ann
uniform.
in your Girl Scout uniform. Yeah. Oh golly. We did the whole bit. The Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts. I was den mother. I was first aider at camp. You name it. I spent probably more time in the school activities than I did at home. Patrick. I had my own den troop. There's Francis. Francis is getting to be a big fella now. He's not the little kid, wiry kid he was anymore. There we go. 8th grade graduation. 8th grade graduation was, 1973. No, 74. No, 73.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the high school, they graduated in 77. Okay, this is Jimmy's house now.
That's Tommy and Eugene.
Tommy and Eugene. Tommy's in visiting. Little Eugene also graduated the same year as Patrick and Rosemary, because they're all the same age. There's Tom. He seems to be on his own. He doesn't seem to have the family this time with him. There we are on our Maple Ridge house, saying goodbye. Michael and Terry on the porch with me. Okay, who's the golfer? Somebody's swinging that club and I can't tell who it is. It might be one of Johnny's friends, because he often took the video on trips with his friends or golfing or wherever he went. Thank God he had a video camera, because he took all these pictures and he left this for us, and this is wonderful. And he was part of everything.
Mike Cronin.
Oh, Mike Cronin, that's Dolores Kenny's husband from New York. Mary, Jim, Patricia, and who's the one in the back? Is that you or Beth Ann? There's Dolores with all her curls in her hair. Dolores Kenny is the daughter of Grandpa Boyle's sister Agnes, and I told you she always kept in touch with the family. That's Jimmy with his long hair, and this is Patrick, and that's Terry. That's Terry Boyle. Yeah, I can tell Terry. But Dolores always kept in touch with the family, and when she married Mike, they often came to visit. There we go. Dolores never had any children, but her sister Anne has 3 children. Robert, Edward, Federico is their last name, and Susan.
Teresa, Michael, and Terry.
What's that?
Well, it's just a video of Teresa, Michael, and Terry.
Oh,
Where the little ones playing.
Teresa, Michael, and there's Teresa. Trying to figure out where were we?
Yeah, it looked like a hotel or something.
A motel. We evidently were on vacation somewhere.
Well, we were meeting up for some family event with the...
Probably up to some
Dolores
family
and Mike
event,
and
because
the
all 3
Boyles.
there's the Boyles, the Weises, and the Branigans
Someone's
there.
wedding. Was that Phil's wedding?
It might be.
Yeah, I bet it was. I think I remember that place.
Yeah, Phil got
We
married
all
about
went
that
to
time,
Phil's
didn't
wedding.
he?
Yep.
Hey, these guys can kick a ball. Okay. Oh, here we go. Here's the wedding. Yep, and you were right. It's Phil's wedding. There's Phil and Chris. Yes. Okay, now don't move the camera so fast. Johnny, you're going too fast. There's Catherine. Mary. Fred. Oh, that isn't Fred. That's Chris's dad. He's got the tuxedo on. Frank. And that's Chris's mom, the dark-haired lady that was there. Grandpa Gervais, Kitty, Freddie, Fred. There's Glenna. There's the Colby family. Okay, here we are. Maureen. There's Mike Cronin. Yeah, Mike came from New York. By golly, they came to Chris's wedding. Isn't that great? Chris and Phil. Chris and Phil, the 2004, they not only have 6 children of their own, their oldest 2, Mary and Matthew, are married now, but they also have 2 little babies that they adopted from the island where Chris goes.
Guatemala?
I think it's Guatemala, yeah, that he goes there every year for about a month. He's an anesthesiologist. Or Phil, that's right, not Chris. Chris is his wife. Phil goes with a group of doctors to do charity work. And when one year he had Matthew and Mary with him, and the boy came in with the little baby that he had to give up for adoption because he couldn't care for it, and well, the children, Matthew and Mary, fell in love with the baby, and the next thing you know, they asked Mom if they could adopt her, and she did. There's the Branigans. There's Grandpa Gervais, Grandpa Boyle. Oh, Chris is beautiful, isn't she? You know that she has had 6 children and she still looks like that? She's one of these perpetually young little girls. Chris is a registered nurse. She looks so pretty. She was the girl next door that Phil fell in love with. And that's her daddy. Lana. That's her mom. There's Katie. See, I don't know the names of all these people. If only Frank and everybody, one person from each family was here, they could just say names out. I can't remember everything. But hopefully when you see these films at home yourself, you'll call out the names of people you see and remember. And maybe you'll make a record of them in your own tape somehow so that future generations will know the names of all these grandparents and people that I don't recall right now. I'm trying to think of the name of the 2 babies that Phil and Chris adopted. And right now I can't think of them. There's young Francis, Catherine and Joey. God bless Catherine. Uncle Fred. Oh boy, I have a funny feeling this is at the lake. Now, we'll see whether it was Catherine's lake or Frank's. Somehow or other, it's not that familiar to me, so I bet you it's Frank's lake. Who's on the... Can you tell who's on the...
Looks like one of the boils.
Frank has a cottage near Curry. Ah, this has got to be Frank's lake. There's Mr. Gervais. Yeah, they probably all, after the wedding, they probably all went out to the cottage. I don't remember going to the cottage at that time. I think we were going on somewhere else, but the family who stayed went out to the cottage. There's Frank. Yeah, that's his cottage. It's only about 5 miles from Katie's home, or from Glenna's home in Curry, Minnesota. Lake Chautauqua, that's the name of it. See, names come to me. Lake Chautauqua, they have a cottage there, and the family has a great time with it. I've been there a couple of times. Water skiing. I remember I learned to water ski at Catherine's cottage when I was young. Fred used to take us out water skiing. And he had the patience of Job. He'd take us all water skiing. It was so nice. And I guess Frank does yeoman service with the water ski. Well, I do not necessarily. Now, Frank's boys are very good at the water skiing. I understand that young Frank can water ski in his bare feet. There's Patricia, Catherine. That's Joey. Yeah. That looks like Jean, the last little girl there. There's Frank's boat. Grandpa. Grandpa really enjoyed going to the lakes and going to visit the kids. And I only wish Mama had stayed around long enough to have enjoyed it. Of course, I feel the same way now about Jim, too. Oh, this is Catherine's cottage. Now we're at Detroit Lakes. This is the Colby cottage, and there's Sissy and Joey. Kitty. That looks like Terry. Eugene's Terry. Ah, that's Domino.
Oh, it's Candy.
No, that's not Sandy. That's Domino.
In the 70s?
Yes, Sandy.
Candy was the little
rather.
one. Domino
No,
was
Candy
big.
was tiny. Candy was tiny. Domino was bigger than Candy. Yeah, Domino was in the 70s, yeah. Yeah, because that dog's bigger than Candy. Candy was just a little type of a thing. Okay, we're back at the wedding now. Right, I know Anne. These are neighbors or friends. The boys were all done up for the big shindig. I can tell by the tuxedos that it was Phil's wedding. There's Freddie, Sissy. Jean, that's you, Jean. There's Johnny taking pictures. Somebody's got the camera there. There's Jim and Fred and Catherine. And that was a great wedding. We were all together. It was a lot of fun. Used to like to go to family occasions where you went out of town and you got away from the humdrum and got out to the lakes and enjoyed things. We didn't get to participate in as many family activities as Mary because our babies were a lot smaller and just didn't get to go as often. Mary got to go with Grandpa a lot. No. And this is definitely Eugene's family and the Weiss family. I'm trying to figure out what other thing. Oh, Katie's there, but no, is it just the Weisses and Eugene's? There's got to be. That's Maureen, Terry. This has got to be back at Lake Chautauqua again. Okay, now Lake Chautauqua is a mud-bottom lake, and it's in the country, so there aren't any cities or anything around it. It's mostly just a country lake. It's close to the farm where Glenna's family lives, and on the other hand, Detroit Lakes sits around the city of Detroit Lakes, Minnesota, which is a big resort town. And in the summertime, everybody piles into Detroit Lakes. It's a 45-minute drive from Fargo, North Dakota, but it's in Minnesota. And of course, there are a lot more city-type things to do in Detroit Lakes. We used to take the kids there when they were young. They had an amusement park, and they have restaurants and a lot of places where young people gather and go dancing. And in fact, I think Francis Boyle Jr. was part of a band for about 15 years or so. And his band used to travel around the country, and every once in a while they'd play in Detroit Lakes for all the young people. Now here we're at Detroit Lakes. This is Detroit Lakes. Whereas Lake Chautauqua is like in the middle of farm country, and Detroit Lakes is a spring-fed, much larger lake, and in fact you can lead from one lake into another. I think there's 2 or 3 lakes involved, and it's very big. Whereas Lake Chautauqua is, I think, just within itself. I don't know if you can go from one lake to another there. I've only seen one country lake.